Colorado. Looks like number one's already on with us. Glad you made it. Tonight we've got a special guest. My good buddy Robert's here. Robert is the wheel cover and hubcap expert, to say the least.
Well, thank you.
You can be sure to check him out on the Hubcap Collectors of the U.S. page.
Correct.
On Facebook. So he brought a super special piece with him tonight. He's actually here. He brought a car out for the F&E Collector Auto Auction to drop off for his neighbor. He brought this super cool piece to show me tonight. So we're going to share it with you. We're going to give everybody a few seconds to get their notifications and get on with us. So we are kind of at a wonky time since I usually try to go about 7, and he was going to get here right before 7, so we needed to back it up. He brought this awesome piece with him to share with all of us. So I was like, we've got to show this. We got to do it. Let him tell the story behind it, because it's literally Loch Ness Fox made it tonight. Glad you made it, because this piece is literally one of 4. The car had to have 4, but only one of one car.
Yeah, one car, and
so
we know of.
Yeah, so it can't be a one of one piece because it had to have 4 because it's a wheel cover. But there's only one car. There's not a lot of them out there.
A lot of them, and there may have been 2. A lot of those prototypes or clay models that they had, they would put maybe 2 on one side.
Right.
So it could be one of 2.
William made it. Glad you made it, William. So we're going to show you one other cool thing. We're going to show you a toy real quick that Robert brought for me to add to my collection. Kevin made it. Glad you're here, Kevin. We're going to check out this model car. Then we're going to get into the wheel cover, and Robert's going to explain a lot about it. Number one's on. Nope, it's not Navy Nick. This is my buddy Robert, and he's going to show us some really cool stuff. But first off, I'm going to show you this toy that he brought me, because we all like model cars. Super cool early Johan Rambler Taxi snap kit. Robert actually built this one when he was a kid. Cool piece, original box. We'll go ahead and slide it out here. Take a look at it. Cool old Rambler model. All done. And like I said, it's great when these things have the original box to display with them. Shows the original pieces. Shows the instructions on the back. And more snap kits available from Johan. So, kind of a cool piece. Robert brought that out to add to my collection, so I always appreciate that. But he had this other piece that he was going to share, that he brought out to show me. He had sent me pictures of it. Sam's on with us. Glad you made it, Sam. But he brought this other piece with him to show me. He'd sent me pictures of it after he got it. It's an awesome piece. And we're going to share it with you guys right now. So, got a good crowd jumping on with us. Let's get this thing to flip around. Big Job's on. Glad you made it, Big Job. Old School's here. So, yep, everybody remembers the models. So, anyway, since we got our crowd, we got a group on here, let's talk about this wheel cover. This is my good buddy Robert Seaburns. We went to college together, known him for a long, long time. If I've got a question about hubcaps, wheel covers, I send the pictures of this guy. And he doesn't look it up. He just sends an answer back. So, he's an expert in that area, knows them cold. The piece that he brought with him tonight is super, super awesome. So, Robert, tell us what you got.
All right. Well, I got an opportunity to get this into my collection, and this wheel cover, at first glance, looks like a production 56 Cadillac wheel cover. And
which we've got one here to compare it.
We pulled it out, and just for comparison, and when you look at them next to each other, you can see some differences.
Now, number one, actually, I did go to college, believe it or not. Robert, so, yeah, that's not an uncommon question. Robert and I both graduated from Pitt State in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So, yep, I did go to college. So,
once I started doing some research on this, found out that this quite possibly was off of a Motorama show car. Did some research, and if you look at the Oldsmobile F88 Mark II, which was a 1957 Motorama show car. It's actually one of Harley Earl's personal cars that he drove, and there's even photos of that car seen at Daytona Beach at the races.
Lee made it. Glad you made it, Lee.
But this wheel cover, to the best I can tell, and some of the photos, is off of that car. The fins on this car are on this wheel cover are individual. You can see on the back side that they are screwed on with individual screws. I did take one off. I got I got brave, and I took one off, and they are individual copper. They are solid copper fins, whereas the one on the production '56 Cadillac are stamped part of the
Obviously, we can
stainless.
see those stamped in there. We can flip this around, see them where they're just literally stamped into the stainless.
And that one's not. And then you also notice that this one has retaining clips around the outside edge on the factory one. This one, they used the spring clips that they would have used on like the wire baskets for the 55, 56
Oh.
Crown Victorias and things like that. So that was very popular for aftermarket wheel covers or high-end wheel covers. Oldsmobile also used that on a lot of their spinner wheel covers. Then there's the fact that it is completely made out of aluminum. Other than the copper fins, the rest of this is aluminum. The outside is anodized gold, which, if you look at pictures of the Oldsmobile Mark II, the F88 Mark II, it's green. So that would go right in line with a lot of that. And being Motorama, they changed a lot of these things. There are lots of different work orders and job orders that went through General Motors on changes that they made to a lot of those Motorama
Well, and as they made the show circuit all across the country,
Right.
they would make small tweaks to them. And sometimes, you know, for the next year, they may just have updated the car.
Right.
So, you know, it wasn't uncommon for those prototype show cars to be modified and changed. Yeah, that's right, William. You do learn something new every day. And if you've got hubcap questions, wheel cover questions, this is your guy. So,
So I'm very excited to have this in my collection, and to my knowledge, it's there's only two. The fella I got it from had two of them. He's another private collector, and
actually, Sam, neither one of these are knockoffs. This is an original Cadillac cap. This is a GM prototype
yeah,
that Robert believes was for the F88 Mark II. So this is off of a car that would have been on the GM Motorama circuit in the late 50s. So these are both GM caps. This one, there's two known to exist in the world. Obviously, the car should have had four at that time, but there's two of these caps known, but they are both GM caps. Original style. They're both original style because this was just a one-off cap. They were both made at the same time, and they're both similar. But since this is so similar to the 56 Caddy, we thought, well, shoot, let's show some of the differences and compare and contrast the two while we're here. So,
up close you can see a lot on this wheel cover, some hand making marks and things like that. It is quite obviously something that was very crafted,
Yeah.
if you will, in their house. So there's actually tooling marks on the aluminum right inside here too. So it's pretty special, and pretty happy to have that in my collection.
that's neat. Yeah, we missed Brandon, just popped up a comment. We missed that. Apologize for that. Big job. So what's the reason you don't think there's a set of them? The other ones probably just got lost to time.
Either that, or if it was prototype for a clay model, it's possible there's only two on one side and two on the other
That's true,
side.
yeah.
So that's a possibility also.
Different press photos, different looks, things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, there could have only been two because they can only take a picture of one side at a time. So.
Exactly. So that was pretty commonly done. If you look into prototype clay models that are done in the studio for General Motors.
Number one, they must have smoked some big cigars for ashtrays that big. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
the factory '56 Cadillac wheel cover is so deep that it needs a special rim for it. So.
Yep. So that's a super cool piece. And like Robert pointed out on the back of that, you can see the hand forming. And on that back edge, I'd even notice you can see where there's hand tooling, the way this is crimped together. You know, and in fact, if you look super close, some of the tolerances are even slightly off.
Yeah.
It was definitely not a mass-produced piece to create that. And to have all those, I don't know, how many, did you count the bars on that one?
I didn't. We can do that real quick. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20.
So 20 separate cast copper bars that were screwed onto that cap. So that's definitely a pretty neat piece and some pretty cool craftsmanship. And like I said, there's two of those caps known in the world, and the only thing that matches up to it in photos is the prototypes.
And yes, and when I pulled that one fin off, the screws are machine screws. They're actually threaded into that solid copper.
So it's a very
bar.
fine thread.
It's
so
extremely fine. Yes.
So yeah, so that which also leads reason to believe there may have only been two.
Right.
You know, because that's even back then that's painstaking to cast. Well, if you did 4 of them, you'd have to cast 80 of those little bars. And being a handcrafted cap, I mean, you got several days in putting a set of hubcaps together. So. Yeah. It's a super special piece, and like I said, since Robert was here tonight, had it with him, I was like, this is a great time to share this with you guys. It's such a neat piece. It is something that we're never going to see again because there's only 2, and the other one's also in a private collection. And Robert has an extensive collection of stuff similar to this in his wheel cover collection. What are some of the other super cool stuff you've got? Thanks, Kevin. It is a beautiful piece. We definitely agree with that. What's some of the other really odd stuff you've got in your wheel cover collection?
I have one more wheel cover that I believe to be a Motorama wheel cover, and it's made out of stainless steel. And the retaining clips on it are not sawtooth like the factory ones are that are stamped. It is rounded, and again, it looks like it is a crafted piece, and it has a plastic medallion that looks right out of a 58 factory 58 Buick production wheel cover.
Okay.
But there's a backing on it, and it's leaded in. So they used lead to hold the plastic.
Does it weigh 10
medallion
pounds or?
No, actually it doesn't, because the rest of it's just a solid disc with rings on it. And it's very in line with what Bill Mitchell did as far as a lot of his styling, which was Harley Earl's predecessor.
Right.
Bill Mitchell's designs were usually very smooth.
No, big job. I'm pretty sure that was not going to get turned into a clock.
No, absolutely not.
So what do you think that other cap's off of? Have you been able to identify it?
Well, we know it's 58 or later.
Right.
And we also know that Bill Mitchell took over for Harley Earl starting in late 1958. The 1959 model cars were the last ones designed by Harley Earl.
Okay.
As chief designer. Then Bill Mitchell took over, and a lot of the styling cues he used were a little different. He liked wire wheels, and if they used wheel covers, they were very smooth and almost disc-like. Mm-hmm. If you look at the LaSalle show car, which was a predecessor to the 63 Riviera, mm-hmm. It has a wheel cover on it that is very much like the one I have in my collection.
And having a Buick medallion in it, there could have been some history tying that to that.
Exactly.
So, thanks for being here, Loch Ness Fox. Even you got to get to dinner, that's okay. Glad you swung by for a little bit.
Pleasure.
So, what other interesting things do you have in your personal collection?
I've got the whole collection of the Chrysler 300 letter series. So I've got the C300, the 300B,
So
C,
from 55
D,
on up.
Yeah, through L, 65L.
Okay.
Which they didn't have specific wheel covers, but the ones up to that did. I've got a 56 Mark II Continental wheel cover. I have all of the specific LeBaron wheel covers in my private collection. A couple of Rolls-Royce ones. So, yeah, some pretty special ones.
Oh, you got some disc brake Chrysler ones, too.
Yes, Oscar Lambert disc brake wheel covers were also very unique. They had a finned backing on them for the air to flow through the rims to cool the Oscar Lambert disc
And
brakes.
those were 53, 54, 55 era.
50 through 55.
50 through 55. So, which one? How many of you guys knew that Chrysler had disc brakes from 1950 to 1955? There was a few of them that did. Were they limos primarily, or
Pretty much, they were considered Crown Imperials.
Crown Imperials?
And they had the small wheelbase ones, and then they had the large.
Old school said he didn't either. Well, I didn't either till Robert taught me about them. So that's what we're all learning. But that's the beauty of this. That's why we hang out, so we can all learn about stuff. And you've got was there a different one every year?
There was a different one for 51 and 52. 53 and 54 used the same wheel cover, and then 55 had its own.
You don't have your own showroom other than your garage, do you?
Not really. No, I don't. But if you look on our Facebook page, the Hubcap Collectors of the U.S., there's some photos of some of my collection there.
So like I said, this guy's is a guru. He knows this stuff. And, if you've got any questions, throw them out there. Or like I said, check him out, Hubcap Collectors of the U.S. If you're on Facebook, check his page out. He's got some cool, there's some great guys on there, some really cool stuff on there that pops up. And there again, I learn a lot from it because of all this weird stuff, just like the disc brake Chryslers. You know, I mean, how many cars were built with those disc brakes back then?
A lot of, each year, probably less than 1,300, depending on the year. Some of them were less than 1,000 on each year.
Just a handful each year from 50 to 55 of those Chrysler. And they were four-wheel disc too, correct, you said?
Yes, four-wheel Oscar Lambert disc brakes. And how many of those have the Kelsey Hayes wires?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so they were actually four-wheel disc brakes. Let's see. His collection gives his couple a whole new meaning of poverty caps. Yeah, he's got a killer collection. There's no doubt about it. And when yeah, like I said, he brought a car out tonight for the F&E Collector Auto Auction, so we could put it in storage till next week. Brought this cap with him to show me because he had sent me pictures of it. And the fact that he brought it, and we were going to go on tonight anyway, I thought this is a perfect opportunity to share this super cool, super rare, super awesome piece, because it's probably the only time I'm going to see one, much less in any of you guys. Are there hubcaps that fit over lockers?
And what are you calling lockers?
I'm assuming like a locking differential or something, but it would probably depend on the vehicle model and stuff, I would guess.
And then the rim that it's going on.
Yeah. I'm sure some of them probably did, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that's what we have for you guys tonight. Yeah, 4x4 locker. Any license plates? Do you do license plates?
I've got a handful, but you know, it's mainly for my collector cars that I have.
Yeah. So like I said, that's what we've got for you tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely something a little different because there's only two, and there's one of them right there. Yep. And an amazing piece of history. And obviously the GM prototype cars in the 50s, you know, they're things of mysteries, things of mystique. A handful of them exist. Most of them do not. Most of them are just strictly pictures. They were dream cars. They were different concepts. They tried different ideas, but they were never released to the public because those ideas weren't tried, tested, and proven to where they couldn't. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. And as always, we definitely appreciate you guys' kind comments and support. So I think we're going to get ready to wrap up. Robert wants to get back on the road. I know that. Super cool episode tonight. Thanks for sharing that with us. And like I said, check his page out if you're on Facebook. If you've got questions about hubcaps, him and the guys on there are amazing. Thanks, Kevin. Glad you enjoyed it with their knowledge on this stuff. And super cool. So, like I said, something that we're not going to get to see again. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Tell your friends about it. Put it with my Tucker banner. Well, I think he's taking that home. I don't think anybody's talking him out of that cap.
No, it's not going anywhere.
So, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here. Robert, anything else you want to add?
No, thanks for having me on tonight. So, this has been fun.
It's great. Always great having guys on here with this kind of knowledge to share this stuff with us. That's why we're here. That's why we hang out. That's what makes it fun. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll have a new video up tomorrow night with some new inventory. Stay tuned. Tons of stuff coming up for F&E Collector Auto Auction. If you've not checked that website out, 4 or 5 more cars went up today. I went and looked at 6 more today. I got picture shot on 5 of those. Kenny learned something new. That's the whole point. We're all learning. So tons of stuff going to be going up on F&E Collector Auto Auction's website, feclassiccarauction.com. Be sure to check that out. Bidding is now live and open on Proxy Bid. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. And so I'm getting super busy with that as well, but a lot of cool things happening. So thanks for watching tonight. Appreciate you being here. Robert, anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
So
thanks for having me.
So you bet. See, thanks. Big job. Glad Robert was here. Kevin, we'll definitely see you Sunday night. My internet is working, thankfully. And and they should be putting my fiber in soon because they had to replace everything here, the antenna, the cabling, everything. So now that they replaced everything I've got here, they'll get my fiber scheduled in, hopefully. So thanks, William. We'll definitely see you Sunday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you coming by tonight, spending some time with us. Hope you enjoyed the awesome wheel cover. We had a good time bringing it to you, and we will see you tomorrow night on a new episode, Friday night, and definitely Sunday night live chat, 7 o'clock Central Time. Hope to see you all there. Thanks for watching, everybody.